Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Noodle Journey, where today I'll be reviewing Nissin's Cup Noodle Seafood variety. Now, I think it's a rite of passage in America that you had to buy an assload of cup noodle flavors at your local grocery store when you were a poor student or wanted something cheap and fast on hand to eat. I remember having cup noodles when I was a kid, and yeah, let's just be honest, it was never great. At least I didn't think so. Sorry, Nissin. Anyway, what I didn't know is that apparently somewhere along the way Nissin dropped the O from Cup Noodles and it just became Cup Noodles. But to further complicate things, Nissin also started bringing over a few of its most popular Japanese flavors to the US, and they are in turn branded simply Cup Noodle without the pluralization as they are branded in Japan. Yes, I actually did research the discrepancy in the names because I was curious as to what distinguishes the product lines. So yeah, Cup Noodles, plural, are still the basic stuff in American grocery stores, while this cup noodle is a Japanese variety sold in America. So that's clear as mud. Like I said, I never really loved cup noodles, because the flavors are basic and the noodles were mush, but people on the internet say that this is a better product, so I will cast aside any prejudice I have against cup noodles and go into this with an open mind. I also didn't love the flavor of that Nissin Rao Tonkatsu from a few episodes ago, so I'm hoping this will fare better since it has actual seafood in it and not an artificial approximation. Enough blabber, it's time to look at the cup contents. Switching to objectivity mode here, this is an impressive product. According to the ingredients, this contains a medley of real seafood including calamari, pollock and or whiting fish, I guess whatever is available at the time of manufacturing, crab, and shrimp. That's awesome. If you're a strict pescatarian, you should avoid this as it does contain chicken products, and obviously if you don't eat seafood at all, then avoid this entirely. And why are you even watching this video? Is it my magnetic personality? All kidding aside, I'm eager to try this. Sodium is 1430 milligrams, or 62% of my daily allowance, which is reasonable except that this doesn't look like the biggest portion. Speaking of, the pricing for this cup is currently around $1.99-ish from Yamibuy and other online retailers, and $1.24 in store at, Walmart. So better than what some other companies offer for a cup product. Mike's. Sorry about that. Must have been my asthma. Let's cook this and see how it goes. Despite being in some sort of styrofoam-esque cup, this is a safely microwavable foam. Side note, please don't microwave any noodle cup product unless it says you can do so, otherwise you will be eating hot chemicals. Since microwaving is what the instructions say to do, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to open this up, tilt as much as I can to the side so that the noodles show themselves. We're going to add room temperature water to the fill line, microwave 2.5 minutes, and let stand for 1 minute after that. And now to stir everything up. And yes, normally if I were eating these for myself, I would just use a fork and slurp the broth out of the cup, but I feel like the chopsticks and the spoon help me show the consistency of the noodles and the broth a little bit better. So, first off, this has a nice mild seafood smell. It's not overpoweringly fishy, which is good, and I'm also noticing that the little bits of cabbage are adding nicely to the smell. I also need to rescind my previous statement because the portion on this is way better than I expected as a strict noodle to container ratio. The noodles are a little bit better than I expected. Obviously, you shouldn't expect the premium Rao noodles at this price point, but these are serviceable. They're a little thin and don't have a great chew, but they aren't mushy, and I think they're better than the cup noodles that I remember from my youth. Maybe the recipe has changed, or maybe I remember them differently. They're not great, they're not bad, they're middle of the road. Middle of the road is a 5 out of 10. Alright, so I edited out a few more bites of this, but I have gotten most of the proteins and vegetables in my mouth at this point. Let's talk about broth. The broth is a chickeny, oniony base that takes on some seafood stock flavor from the add-ins. It's got a pretty good flavor coming from the cabbage too, a little bit sweet. Not overly salty despite the amount of sodium in this. I like the flavor very much. And not just the flavor, but the amount of add-ins, all the little pieces of seafood floating around, are pretty impressive, especially for a simple cup noodle product. This is really good. The noodles aren't my favorite, but the broth and the add-ins really make up for the deficiency of the noodles. And this is not a spicy product by any means, so 0 out of 10 on spice in case you were worried about that. Overall, I'm going to have to give these a 7 out of 10. If the noodles were a little bit better, this would be a solid 8, 8.5, but you know what you're getting with a cup noodle product, and these are not your most premium noodles. But I'm happy with this, I have to say. Nissin, you've won me over with this product. Whether or not I would buy this again? If I'm in the mood for seafood, I would absolutely go for one of these. It's extremely easy to make, the flavor's great, and it's cheap enough that I don't feel guilty buying it to keep on hand. And yeah, I'm very much going to devour the rest of this when the camera turns off. I do have another variety of cup noodle to get to in my queue, so be on the lookout for that video someday soon. Based on how this one went, I am very much looking forward to seeing how that one goes. But otherwise, that's it for now. All things considered, I'm glad to have tried this variety, so I know that my suspicions about Nissin's cup products were actually unfounded. What other Nissin products could potentially blow my mind? Please let me know in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe to continue on this noodle journey with me.